To the Monday, March 3rd meeting of the Fitchburg School Committee. I call this meeting to order. Please be advised that FATV is conducting an audio and video recording of this meeting for public broadcast. I ask anyone in the audience who is recording this meeting to identify yourself, please. Seeing none, now I ask that all electronic devices please be placed into silent mode. I don't go off in the middle of the meeting like mine might. Okay. All right. So we have salute to the flag. Next up on our list is School Committee member Rosemary Reynolds. Could you please lead us in the salute to the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next up on our agenda is school committee members and student reports. School committee chair report, none at this time. Resource subcommittee.
Resource subcommittee, we met last week. We had a presentation by the Black Student Union on their DC trip. We had an enrollment update. There were no grants to accept or submit. We were given a budget update, and we talked about the public hearing on the budget, which we will do this year. And we talked about the Crocker Field use fees, which is on tonight's agenda.
All right. Crocker Field use fees.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
All right. Any comments or questions on the resource subcommittee report? Okay, thank you. Our school building needs.
Building needs. Dan gave us an update on the January maintenance by the school building department. There were 4 pages of repairs. I can't believe how busy those people are keeping our buildings up. The annual fire alarm inspection was done. Lawn Joe, all the old rugs were replaced at Lawn Joe, and new fencing was installed for safety at South Street School. And Mr. Roach gave us an update on the capital projects.
All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Stevens, any questions, comments on school building needs? All right. Seeing none, we move on to policy subcommittee.
Okay, we met on February 26th, and we continued our work with Section J of the policy manual. And we have a couple of things that we're going to discuss later on tonight. And our next meeting is March 26th from 5 to 7, once again at Central Office with Tracy Novick from the Massachusetts Association of School Committees.
And will we be discussing our student representatives?
We will. I have the information to share tonight.
Great. Any comments, questions? Policy subcommittee? Okay, moving on. We have student support subcommittee, which...
We did not meet this evening. The chair is sick, so we will hopefully be able to meet on the 17th.
The 17th of March.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, great. School Personnel Subcommittee, we have no report this time. And our student representatives, we are hoping to have them
For Monday, the 17th?
on our committee soon.
Yes.
All right, great. Next, we have the approval of the minutes from our previous school committee meeting of February 24th. That was not that long ago.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of February 24th.
Second.
Motion and second to approve our last meeting minutes from February 24th. Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Take that unanimous. Okay, great. We have communications. Dog license poster contest winners by Mrs. Cragen, Counselor at Large.
All right, thank you, Madam Mayor. Hello to all my friends on school committee and my friends in central office. It is my delight to be here for, I believe, the 7th, not quite annual presentation of the dog license poster contest. We had more than 350 submissions. Rheingold School got very involved this year. We have some very dynamic kids who submitted, and just because we see kids behind us, that doesn't represent the hundreds of kids who really worked hard. I'd like to turn the floor over for a moment to Mrs. Morrison from Crocker School, who has been an absolute dynamo in promoting this contest and encouraging young artists. Mrs. Morrison.
Craig, and it's not often I'm called a dynamo. I'll take that. I'll take it. I want to say thank you to you. Thank you to all of you on behalf of the kids at Crocker and myself. We love doing this contest. This is our 4th year. Every year when I announce to the kids we're doing this, because it's the whole school, they're so excited. We are learning all about art, but we're also engaging in such an important community project that is just, the kids love dogs and they love drawing, so it's a perfect match.
Nice.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
One minute. She has to self-promote something else for the art. Yeah, there we go.
This month of March, we are doing a mini art show. The whole entire district, Fitchburg Public Schools. So it's smaller.
The tiny art show?
The art isn't small, but the amount is small.
Okay.
Our reception is Thursday from 5 to 6:30 at the Fitchburg Art Museum. And then we're having a bigger art show in May, which is with the whole district, and that will be at the Senior Center, May 22nd.
This Thursday, 5 to 6:30 at the Art Museum?
Yep, that's at the Art Museum. And the art will be up for the entire month of March.
Awesome.
So very exciting news. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So this isn't just an art contest. As Mrs. Morrison said, this is a community project. And I'd like to bring up next my friend, Officer Shelby Hurdle, who is here representing Fitchburg Police Department, who helped judge this contest and helped judge it every year. So Officer Hurdle, come on down.
Good evening. Congratulations to all of the winners. It was absolute wonderful artwork. I'm very, very impressed. But I wanted to remind everyone in the public that you must go to the clerk's office and purchase a dog license in the next coming weeks. And all you need is your rabies certificate, because we want to keep dogs and people safe. Congratulations, everybody.
Thank you. And if you have your spay-neuter certificate, then you get the discounted rate.
That is correct. Intact animals are charged $15, and animals that are spayed or neutered, dogs, are charged $9. So if you consider, the $6 differential over, the 10 or 12 years or 15 years, it's really worthwhile. Please spay and neuter your dogs. We're also working with the elementary schools on some in-school projects having to do with vet care. And I'm going to take a moment now to say, save the date, Saturday, April 26th, 9 to noon. We have the Jeffrey P. Stevens annual or biannual low-cost pet vaccine clinic. And this is put on by Second Chance Animal Services with support from our Fitchburg Fire Department. And we also have the Fitchburg City Clerk who will be there to register your dog that day. So that is an addition we are very grateful to. And the reason we name it after Jeffrey P. Stevens, who is Mr. Stevens' son, is that we could never have started the low-cost pet vaccine clinic back in 2011 without Jeff's help. Jeff made this happen, so his legacy continues by helping keep dogs safe, and I love that. So I would like to bring some of our winners, our honorable mention recipients up here, and we're going to do alphabetical from the start, but I was thinking we might go alphabetical backwards, because I bet you guys never do that. So if that's okay, Cameron St. Hilaire, can I have you come up first? Is that all right? Yay. So you can say a few words if you like, and show people your drawing.
I'm Cameron St. Hilaire, and I'm Cameron St. Hilaire, and I drew a German Shepherd.
Very good.
And this is your own German Shepherd, right?
Yeah,
What's his name?
it's her, Rosie.
What is it?
Rosie?
Rosie.
Rosie.
Nice.
I can definitely tell it's a German Shepherd.
Yes.
Yes.
No, that's a good drawing.
Yeah.
And you're a dog lover, right? You really love dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you took time at home to draw your own dog.
That's cool.
So I thought that was really wonderful. Anyway, congratulations for your honorable mention. Now, what's going to happen? All my other winners, have a look. So hold this. You're going to walk, starting at Mrs. England. Show them your picture, and at the mayor's table, she's going to give you a certificate. And then keep showing your picture, and then you can come back and sit. When everyone has come and presented, we're going to have Officer Hurdle, Mrs. Morrison, myself, Mr. Stevens, and the mayor, and probably the superintendent. Come on up, and we'll get some pictures taken of the whole group, right? All right, you got that? So start at Mrs.
Sally,
England.
quick. Cameron,
Cameron, oh,
what
question.
grade are you in and what school do you go to?
I go to Rheingold, and I'm in 4th grade.
Thank you. Good job.
All right, Rheingold, 4th grader, Cameron St. Hilaire. Next, we have Kay Melise Soto Ruiz. So if Kay Melise, you want to come up and show just show your picture. You want to come up and show your picture?
Congratulations.
Kay Melise is a 3rd grader. So we allow kids in 1st through 5th grade have the opportunity to do a drawing, but she's our only 3rd grader, so bravo. And this was Rheingold's first opportunity to...
Oh, I love the rainbow.
We love the rainbow, too.
I love it. I love the dog's face.
Nice job.
All right, next we have Adina Kong. Adina, would you like to say a few words? You may if you like.
Hello, my name's Adina Kong, and I have a St. Bernard puppy named Jasper. He's so cute and fluffy. So much.
Amazing.
Sadly, I forgot to include him in the drawing, but I would if I could.
And what grade in school?
I'm in Crocker, and I'm in 5th grade.
And have you entered before?
No.
The contest? Oh, so she was an honorable mention, entering her first time. Pretty great.
Yes.
Oh, bravo. All right, Adina's going to make her way around. Oh, and just hold still if folks want to take the picture, because this is very memorable, and no other community, I'd like to remind everyone, no other community that I know of in our county does this. So not only do we do this, but we take the care and caretaking of dogs and cats very seriously. So it's nice to be able to look close at a piece of artwork, right?
What kind of puppy do you have now? St. Bernard. Wow.
Oh, boy, St. Bernard's bigger than her.
That's amazing. Great job.
So our animal control, one of our animal control officers really, really loved that. So, Julie, one of our wonderful, man, I mean, just what a hard job. But Julie loved that. She loved the girl and the dog. So for next year, someone holding a dog is a good theme. All right, we are now with our friend. Oh, now her big brother may be familiar to you. I'd like to introduce Ella Cannon, who is an honorable mention winner. Ella, come on up. So Ella, you want to hold up your picture so people can see?
Oh, the sunset.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this one really caught everyone's eye, Ella, because you got this really interesting shading effect. And again, it's a girl holding a dog. So I was happy to see that this made it from the 350 originals through several layers of judging. So if you want to go show that, do you want to say a couple of words? Yeah, okay.
It's a picture of me and my dog, Maisie.
Maisie.
Golden
Maisie?
Maisie.
What kind of dog's Maisie?
Golden Doodle.
Golden Doodle?
Oh, okay.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
You had a golden doodle look like a lion. That's my favorite part about a golden doodle.
So has Lydia or Anita come in yet? I believe I've called everyone who Okay, so we're going to save our grand prize winner for tomorrow and unveil that drawing then.
Okay.
With hopefully the other kids. So once Ella makes the rounds, can I invite our
I'll have one of
other
these for you tomorrow,
contest
today.
winners? So come on up.
Congratulations, I love it.
I love it. It's watching the sunset.
It's beautiful.
It looks comfy.
Colors.
I want to be
Congratulations.
I was telling everyone that this, for Fitchburg, this is the Super Bowl for art. Because this is a lot of people make this happen, and again, there's a happy ending, which is more people are aware of how important it is to license their dog. As Officer Hurdle said, this is really, this is mandatory, this is legal, it is required by the state, and it does keep animals safe because our rabies numbers are down, are low, but it is not eradicated, so it's important we keep this up. So a big round of applause for everyone. And now, can I have our artists come join us? And then Mr. Stevens and Mr. Thompson and Mayor Squalia, could you come around front? We're going to take some pictures with you and the winners. I always have Mr. Stevens because of his family's engagement with our dog license poster contest, and also because I love him.
Ms. Jeffries, did you have a question about photos?
Well, I was going to ask the families if it was okay to have their pictures put on my school committee Facebook page. If you don't, if you could feel free to just tell me.
Watch in. Yeah, hold it up so everybody can see the pictures.
All right, can you take one of the Sam's?
Yep, yep. Hold on. I'm old, so it takes me a minute. Hold on.
Everyone look at Jim.
Smile. On three, say, bark, bark. Ready? 1, 2, 3. There we go. Good job, everybody.
Thank you, guys. So come back tomorrow night, you will get your artwork back for good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
everyone. Thank you for coming.
Huh? It did, yeah. I really love the one sitting with the arm around the duck. That was so neat. That was.
How'd you do that? You take a photo and...
All right, next up on our agenda, we have the Academy Street Historical District letter, which was in our packet.
Yes.
So,
we wanted to make sure everyone had the information. The Friday right before we went on February break, Central Office received this in the mail, alerting us from the Massachusetts Historical Commission that Academy Street, that area where Longsjo is being considered by the Massachusetts Historical Commission for nomination to the National Register of Historic Places. So, that being said, we received this letter, and I wanted to make sure everyone had copies of it and were aware of the letter. And I think, Mr. Walsh, you did some homework to figure out where did this come from? Because we were surprised when we got the letter. We didn't know this was happening. So
I want to say on the back second part of the letter, they send the application to the local public library, which I picked up today. And I want to give a big thank you to Mark Dolan from New View Communities. I called and left a message for him, and as I was driving to this meeting, he called me and explained that what was confusing is on the letter, it copies the mayor and Keith Cheneau, who's on the Fitchburg Historical Commission, Paula Karen, who's the chair of the Fitchburg Planning Board, and a Maureen Kavanaugh, who's part of the Public Archaeology Laboratory, which obviously is not city department, but it wasn't addressed to anybody. All it's addressed to is the school department, specifically relating to a lot number, which is Longview Middle School. So a copy of the application was at the public library, which I was able to copy, and it's a very detailed report. It goes into a lot of detail about the first high school that burned down in 1936 and building the new high school that opened in 1938. Talked about B.F. Brown when it was built and went into detail how they had to have students from the high school go to B.F. Brown. They sat at tables, not desks, because there wasn't enough room. But so what Mr. Doan told me is this is something that was done, the process began many years ago. Larry Casassa was still working for the building department. Okay. So I think Larry's been retired for quite a few years. So, and basically what's going to happen is that the Massachusetts Historical Commission will be meeting on March 12th at 1 o'clock for the nomination for this district to be a National Register of Historic Places. And basically what it includes is the Longview Middle School, the stairs that go up from Wallace Ave to Academy Street, and then it includes the Newview Arts Community, which is formerly B.F. Brown, the stable that's next to Low Playground, and I think what used to be called the Annex, because Hastings building was torn down. It's gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
And then also the entire, Low Playground will be included in this historic district. And what Mr. Doan told me is, he said there are many more benefits to receive this designation than there are downsides. It's not like, he gave the example, Concord, Mass. Has a local historical commission, which basically tells you if you're in the historical district in Concord, you can't replace the shingles on the side of your house. You can't paint it a different color than what it is. None of that, according to Mr. Doan, is not going to happen. And he said a lot of the money that they received was through federal grants as well to do what they're doing to make the apartments for the art community in that. So, excuse me again, I'm sorry. So, thank you. So it wasn't something that was done recently. It's probably done, I said, probably under the previous superintendent, Mr. Jokler. He said, no, it probably was done even before that when Andre Ravino was the superintendent.
Okay.
So it's moving along, and I believe the superintendent and a couple other people will be attending the meeting either in person or virtually.
We are going to, virtually.
Virtually, yeah.
And we have some questions that we came up with. If anyone on the committee has a question, if you want to think about it and email it to Mr. Roach and I, we can ask your question at the meeting. So we're going to attend on March 12th, and then we'll bring back the information to you to give you an update on what we found out. Okay?
Yep. And I'm going to give the application to Mary Alexander so copies can be made. It's an interesting history and a lot of the pictures of the old buildings before the original high school burned down, and what my mother-in-law referred to Longview as the new high school, even long after the high school was built on Espy State Road. So, but again, so thank you, and that's where that is.
Yeah, and just to note, a big impetus for this was the Fitchburg Arts, community project in order to get those kind of historic tax credits and other benefits of being a national, historic district. That really adds a lot to it. So. Yeah,
and maybe there'll be some grants possible
for the school
that we can look into.
Absolutely.
So. Yeah, it's up to 50% potentially, according to the materials. So.
Maybe we can get that auditorium.
Believe me, we've thought of that.
Yeah. So we'll report back to you on what we find out on the 12th, okay?
It was nice to get this second letter. Gave us a lot of information that we didn't have, and wasn't.
Thank you, Jim, for doing work on that.
Yep.
I'd like to say just one thing during communications.
Sure.
Massachusetts again came #1 in advanced placement courses this past year, and I would just like to recognize Mr. Jeremy Roach, who was previously Fitchburg High School principal, who had so much to do with the advancement of the advanced placement courses at Fitchburg High School, and a lot of that is because of you, Mr. Roach. Thank you.
Please.
Are you saying that you're just saying good things about the advanced placement courses, or something?
We were #1 in the country, Massachusetts. Yep.
Massachusetts as a whole, we're
As a
#1
whole,
in advanced
yes.
placement courses?
Yes.
Like our grades or our offerings?
The percentage of kids getting a 3, 4, or 5 qualifying, Massachusetts was #1 in the country. I would think like 32.5%. Yeah.
Well, we are the most educated.
Yes, we
and
are.
the best looking.
So they say.
Any questions on any of the communications? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. We've got public comment. Public comments of no more than 5 minutes in length were offered to be submitted to the superintendent by noon today. Did we get any of those?
We did not.
Okay. I now invite anyone in the audience that wishes to share public comment. Okay, seeing none, we will move on to the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Sam. This evening, we are continuing with our director presentations. This evening, I'd like to welcome Dr. Matarosian, our social studies director, up. He will be giving us an update on the social studies happenings throughout the district. Welcome, Dr. Matarosian.
Thank you so much for having me back. I think this is working at this point.
1 second, sir.
Sure.
Might help if I have the PowerPoint brought up here. All right, there you go.
Oh, there we go. We'll start here. So the last time I made a presentation for the committee, spent a lot of time sort of having you digest this one slide. So I thought it'd be a good start to revisit the big picture, revisit the mission and the vision of social studies for each and every student in the city of Fitchburg, and that has been the case, at least since I was hired in 2021. So, so the purpose today is to kind of remind you where we've been, the work that we've done, highlight, a lot of the positives, talk about the progress and how we're measuring that progress, and then to talk about the future, next steps and where we're going with regard to curriculum instruction and assessment. And so when I was hired in 2021, it was a big daunting job at that point because the district did not have a program, and leading with others, that includes teachers, building leaders, district leaders, community stakeholders. We worked frantically, and we built an entire K-12 program in less than 2 years. And that is almost unheard of when you look at the work that school districts have to do. It was a very big job. We were fortunate enough to have gotten it done. So to be 2 full years into implementation at this point is it's a really big deal. It's a big deal, especially for the students who, they're at the forefront of any of this work. And so even before we started the program development, I worked with stakeholders across all 8 buildings, and it took about a half a year. And people were wondering what I was doing and why I was doing it. But what we were doing was crafting a shared vision for what we wanted each and every graduate from our school district to come out with, and not necessarily the minutia of content, although we do want our students to have some big ideas and some concepts under their belt, but more importantly, the skill set. We call them college and career readiness skills, 21st century skills, but the fact of the matter is that there's at least 50 years of research coming from the business community that now says whether you go to college or or not, those skills are needed. We want them from all of our high school graduates. And so we put big ideas, and especially the skills, acquisition, development, and demonstration at the forefront of that vision, and we're using that shared vision to drive all of this work that you see here, and this probably just scratches the surface, but the ultimate goal is for the changes that we all want to be seen in each and every classroom each and every day. That's where we want the change to be felt. And so, we want to see a student-centered learning environment for each and every student. We want to see kids making meaning instead of the adults making meaning for them. We want our teachers to transform how they do their work such that students are empowered to wrestle with these big ideas, to wrestle with multiple points of view, to go beyond what's simply in either their textbooks or in our frameworks, and really take a comprehensive look and tailor it and relate it to the things that are in their worlds. Because the fact of the matter is that no matter where our students go after high school, they're going to be asked to solve tomorrow's problems with today's information, and that's not easy for any one of us. So we wanted to ensure that whatever work we did, almost by backward design, having that vision for students and more importantly for student outcomes first, and then driving our work. All right, and that is the one thing you don't necessarily see here in this big picture, but we've given you a link to that shared vision right in the presentation, so that if you wanted to take a look, believe it or not, it represents about 6 months of solid work, and we finally had that approved and presented back in December of 2021, and it's driven our work since, and it will continue to do so. And it really consisted of these three prongs here. One is developing a program, and an aligned K-12 program, aligned in terms of big idea content, aligned in terms of skills development. We also wanted, in order to see those things, we wanted to ensure that the professional learning that we offered to teachers was aligned to those goals. And so we've been very purposeful with regard to making professional learning available to teachers, and specifically with regard to job-embedded professional development, where teachers are asked to immediately apply their newfound knowledge and skills to a lesson activity or even a complete lesson that they will bring back into their classroom. So if you talk to any veteran teacher, having the time to collaborate with one another to do that very work is something they clamor for, and historically, I don't think we've done that very well for them as a nation, as an institution. And so the fact that we are doing that and having their input and other stakeholder input drive that work is important to us here. And lastly, ensuring that teachers have the tools, training, and the resources and support to do this very work. I will say that it's nice to see the progress, but we're far from done, and we understand that. Let's talk about goals a little bit. So, if we look at goals for students, teachers, families, our three major groups of stakeholders, if you will, we certainly want to increase relevant inquiry-based learning opportunities for students. So to that end, the district this year at the grade 8 level has adopted, as at least in pilot form, the Democratic Knowledge Project. And so if you're familiar with Open SciEd as a curriculum, or the 1-8 Foundation that puts this curriculum out, this is another of their products, and it is aligned to Massachusetts standards. It is student-centered. It is very well scaffolded, and it is inquiry-driven, where the student notion of identity is at the forefront, and concepts spiral throughout the year. So we're piloting that this year, and even though those grants are typically written at the school level, Memorial received theirs this year, all teachers in grade 8 across the district in August, when I worked with them, decided that they were going to pilot it together. And the feedback has been so positive that I submitted a grant on behalf of Longjo just a few few weeks ago. So, and we're likely to receive that, and it'll be wonderful to send the teachers over at Longjo to the same professional training that our colleagues over at Memorial benefited from. We have also submitted a grant for investigating history. So an organization by the name of Primary Source out of Watertown, Massachusetts, is the primary author of this curriculum on behalf of 1-8 and on behalf of DESE. Having been to Primary Source's trainings in my own career in the classroom, I can tell you that their ability to engage teachers as professionals, as scholar practitioners, and give them a plethora of resources in terms of content and especially pedagogy. The training is almost second to none, and they're an outstanding organization, which is probably why they were chosen to do this work. So we have submitted a grant on behalf of grades 6 and 7, across the district. I served as chief writer for the folks over at Longjo and assisted as needed with the grant at Memorial. We have our, as part of this process, we have school-based interviews, and they're actually happening tomorrow, or Wednesday, sorry, forget what day it was. So 2 days from now. With all of this, we've also taken student input very seriously, as well as teacher input very seriously. And what we are trying to do, especially at the high school level, but across the board really, is build a culturally responsive program. We want courses and classes that students actually want to take. And so if you look at the list of offerings there, it's incredible to see the social studies department at Fitchburg High School offer this, diverse sampling of electives. There are larger schools that don't offer as much, and so it's nice to see that at the high school. You spoke about AP courses earlier, and I am working with one of the high school teachers now to bring world history back to the high school. That is a course that had been dormant for a couple of years, so it'll be nice to bring that back and offer that to students as well. Yes.
What do you mean by grade 6 and 7 investigating history? What?
Sure. So investigating history is what they call it. And what it is it's rather than teachers simply marching through content, students passively sort of receiving that content, students are the ones engaging in that work. And so every unit, and I can speak to this for two reasons. One, this is always the way I taught and how I ran my own classrooms, but I've also had a chance to take a deep dive into that curriculum as well. And it starts with an essential question. So I'll give you an example. All right, when we're looking at, how does trade impact cultural development? And so rather than tell students and show students and play a video and do board work and say, here's everything you need to know about the Silk Road, right? It's, okay, we have this idea of trade, but more than consumer goods were traded along this Silk Road. So in order to answer this essential question, this bigger question, there's certainly pieces of knowledge that the students are going to need under their belts. They're going to need to know some of the key players in this Silk Road. So for those of you who are not in the know, the Silk Road was at its height roughly from maybe 200 AD or CE, whatever dating system you're comfortable with, all the way until maybe about 900 CE, maybe 1000 before the Indian Ocean trade kind of took over global trade. But it really was a global trading network. So the Han Dynasty protected it all the way to the east, the Roman Empire all the way to the west. So your west is that way, and then there were intermediaries. So the other thing that investigating history does is it tries to bring that history current. and make it relevant. And so I'll give you a specific example of that. One of the key players in the Asian side of the Silk Roads was an ethnic minority group called the Uyghurs. That if you look and go to the news today, the current issue is that that particular ethnic minority is being persecuted by the Chinese government. And so certainly we're teaching the history, but we also want to go beyond the what this thing was, this Silk Roads, and students have to wrestle with the notion that we're not just doing business transactions. We're learning different ways of communicating. We're transmitting culture. And so if you look at the archaeological research, for example, that's why we see remnants of ancient Chinese pottery still being unearthed as we're looking in the area that we would consider the Middle East today, right? It's also, if you look at larger questions like why did the Renaissance happen in Europe first? Well, if you really do your research and you know your history, and this is the stuff that students have to wrestle with, a lot of those things were either saved by Christian monks the best they could, but especially it comes from the East. It comes from places like China and India, and people who we would never associate with the Renaissance, but if it weren't for that knowledge transmitting and being brought westward, we might have had a different course of history in Europe, right? So students have to look at what cultural blending is. Older kids will introduce the word syncretism. So, for example, that is something that AP World History students are going to need to have a handle on. That is the big word for cultural blending, right? So another example is you see languages develop. All right, so I'll give you an example from the Indian Ocean trade. So the entire language that we call Swahili today is a hybrid of Arabic and Bantu, and there are about 300 different Bantu languages coming out of Africa. But the East African city-states that traded with the Arab sailors along that Indian Ocean trade route needed a way to communicate with one another, all right? And they actually invented this hybrid language, which is why we have it today. So at an age-appropriate level, students are being asked to wrestle with bigger ideas, that it's just more than things that you buy and sell. It's the transmission of culture, of religion, of languages. Yes?
Sorry, and I also just wanted to clarify, John is going, Dr. Matarogian is going to be coming back to us at the end of the year, because the idea is that these are curriculum resources. Some of them are open source, which is really great. That means that, they're free for our use, similar to OpenSciED. And similar to OpenSciED, that's going to be the focus of, DESE is going to really work hard to make sure that that's on Curate and that becomes a high-quality resource. So Dr. Matarogian is really jumping ahead of getting us, connected with this curriculum early on. So we're in the pilot mode, and then by the end of the year, we'll hear back from Dr. Matarogian as to how the curriculum is going, so that the goal is that we would be adopting curriculum in those grades for next year.
Yes, and that's actually one of the conditions of the grants, that by year 3 of that grant cycle, we are adopting 100% of that curriculum product. So it becomes the core instructional resource and the curriculum documents all in one. And that, and the 1.8 understands that we will always have a need to supplement with ancillary resources, activities, et cetera, because the fact of the matter is, especially in the social studies, no one published curriculum is a be-all, end-all. It's just a different breed than, say, ELA, math, or science. They're skills-oriented, and those skills are universal across the country. That's not the case with social studies. So you have 50 different states, you have 50 different state frameworks. And so, and not only that, but our learners are unique. And that is something that I always want our teachers to understand, that and I know that the district will second me on this, but I want teachers to have enough leeway to make professional decisions based on the needs of the students in front of them, and not on the things that they habitually always liked doing, quote unquote. So I'll give you an example of that. All right, so if we're teaching 2 grade 7 classes, on paper, they might look the same. The content we're supposed to be teaching is the same, but maybe our students' learner profile is different. Maybe your class is a class of kids who read at grade level, and maybe my class is a class of kids who are 2 or more levels below in terms of basic reading and writing skills, right? So if I'm making a professional instructional decision based on the needs of my students, why would I select the same text-based activity that would come so easily for your students and yet so difficult for mine, right? So I would want to really, apply basic UDL principles and find other modalities for my students to learn that same content, all right? That isn't to say we don't teach reading and writing, and I like to say and hang my hat that I do that better than most in my discipline, and I want my folks to do the same, right? But when it comes to, the acquisition of content, we do have to be mindful of who our learners are, and we have to, we have to make sure that we're making decisions that enable all learners to access the curriculum and not only just some.
Thank you, John.
Sure.
Are you using a textbook?
Right now, there is a basic text. My message to teachers is that it is a resource. It is not the curriculum, okay? And I want them to treat it as such. And so, they are expected to put the prep work in and really curate and put the pieces together. And so we've developed curriculum documents that give them learning targets so that as long as we make sure our students all get to the same finish line, if you will, there's some freedom there. There's some academic choice. So I don't want teachers to be robots and teach all of it a textbook, if that's what you're referring to. But there is a text. It has to be strategically used and utilized properly with purpose, just like any other resource, or else it's just something that we just, it's kind of like, throwing sticky paper onto the wall and see what sticks. We have to be purposeful behind what we're doing, and the only way we do that is we have clear learning targets in mind for our students, and we know our students as people and as learners so well that we can be purposeful. And we're doing the work outside of class that makes that look easy inside of class. This is a very long-winded answer, but
it's good because I taught 6th grade Western civilization, and you had a textbook that was probably written 2 grade levels above their ability, and it made it difficult for a lot of the students. So this will, with a good teacher, can bring it all together.
Sure. And it is possible to build student capacity in terms of their literacy skills, 100%. But any master veteran teacher in the district that you would talk to, Mrs. Jeffries happened to be one of them when she was in the classroom, they will tell you the same thing, that when it comes to, literacy for students like you're talking about, regardless if they're special education, multilingual learner or not, that has to be direct, explicit. We do it together. We're modeling. We're breaking that down. But more importantly, we're giving students a toolbox, because at the end of the day, they're going to be in the real world someday as adults, and they're going to be expected to learn on their own. And so if we don't give them a toolbox and we don't give them the safe space, psychologically speaking, to build on their skills, then we're not servicing them well. Yeah. So another goal that we have is increase experiential learning for students. So this is just a sampling of things that we have done to date. But, we want to ensure that we bring the field into the classroom or the classroom into the field, and so that students see how the material that they're learning, how the skills that they're learning using the content helps them outside, right? And if you took a hard look at our students today, especially middle school and above, they think a lot like we do. They think like adult learners. And so the best teachers that we have, and we have great teachers in our buildings, they will tell you that if they are not able to get students to see how what they're about to learn connects to their own worlds and what they're about to learn will help them out there someday, then they simply won't engage. That's what they will tell you, and they happen to be right about that. And so we want to make sure that we don't reduce the content of what students are learning to some names, dates, facts in the textbook, anything that's Googleable, right? We want them to be able to think at a higher level and to apply this information, right? So that is certainly a goal. And I would probably say that, we've scratched the surface, and there's so much more out there that's possible for our kids. And as far as for families, a goal of mine, and I know of the districts, is to make schooling and what's being taught and how it's being taught more transparent for families. So, I'm a parent myself. I have an almost 22-year-old, and I have a 17-month-old, soon to be a year and a half, little boy at home as well. And so the same things that are on my minds as a parent are also on our families' minds. And it comes down to 3 basic questions. What is my child learning? Who are my child's teachers? And who do I talk to if I have a question or a concern? And so we want to make sure that we do better to make what their children are learning about in school more transparent for parents. And I think, I said this when I came earlier this year to talk about the 21st Century program. We really do want to do better to enlist each and every family as an ally in their children's success, because, the study after study out there will tell you that the #1 predictor of academic success is parental involvement. And so if we can enlist them as families and as allies in support of all of our children, it's a win-win, right? Families win, but more importantly, kids win. Kids win. So those are our goals. We are doing a lot of things. Yes?
You have the social studies newsletter. Could the school committee be put on that list so we could receive a copy of the studies newsletter?
Yeah, and before we put one out, I want to make sure that we vet it the right way, that there will be iterations, teachers will be involved in that process, students will be involved in that process. We will enlist help of families to draft something that is, that all stakeholders can be proud of. Most likely will be several iterations of this document, right? And before we put our first one out, my assumption has to be that we present right back here at committee and get people's thoughts one last time before we go to final print, if you will. So I can't promise you one soon, but I will promise you that we will take a thoughtful process in producing one. Yeah. Okay. So one of the things I want to show you about progress monitoring, and these are all different ways, but I do keep data and I capture data about student learning. So we have, especially in grades 6 through 12, started to develop common assessments. So one of the things we definitely want to be able to do is, to the best of our ability, ensure a similar experience for each and every student, no matter who their teacher is, no matter which school they're going to. We call that horizontal alignment, right? So it's very important that, in spite of giving teachers the autonomy that they deserve, we have some items that are common because it serves as a good litmus test for all of us. We need hard data to look at the integrity of our program. Is the program we built and the way that we're implementing it making the intended impact on student engagement, making the intended impact on student learning? And so we actually started this work before we implemented the curriculum in full, because the work had already begun prior to me being hired. And what you're looking at is data from last year. So teachers in grades 6 through 11, so we focused on our core courses. They gathered a baseline assessment earlier in the year, but before that, they identified a common assessment item that they would use. They developed a rubric, a common rubric, so that we have what's called inter-rater reliability when we score these pieces of work. And then they gathered a baseline score. So what you're looking at there are averages across grades 6 through 12. I believe that the rubric for grades 6 and 7 is an 8-point rubric. I believe the rubric for grades 9, 10, and 11 is a 12-point rubric. But again, we've linked them for you along with a sample assessment so you can see what they look like. CER writing, so claim evidence reasoning, is something that grades 6 and 7 had already been used to in their ELA program, so we wanted to build upon that literacy foundation. Grade 8 this year has moved to local performance tasks and common assessments embedded within the DKP curriculum. That's the Democratic Knowledge Project. And then the high school teachers worked on what's called an SAQ. That stands for short answer questions. So what we did is we took the advanced placement short answer question and we scaled that down for all students. So we scaffolded it a little bit better. We included some elements that are assumed that an AP student would know how to do. But really, it's building on literacy skills. So the same, RI standards that you see in ELA classes, the same W standards, we're building the same skill set using social studies sources and content. So in the case of 9 through 11, students are given two primary source excerpts. Their job is to identify the claim that each author makes, to identify one piece of evidence that each author includes in the excerpt, and then to explain how the author uses that evidence to support the claim, right? We call that rhetoric, but it's a critical literacy skill. It goes above and beyond functional literacy or just being able to regurgitate what you read or summarize what you read. And so, the good thing is that we've seen significant gains across all grade levels. We especially saw that in grades 6 and 7, and we never asked the question why. My hypothesis, however, is that because students in grades 6 and 7 were already familiar with that type of writing, that the learning curve for them was a lot less. They're used to that language, they're used to the format, they're used to the requirements and expectations, while students at the other grade levels, because this is the first time we're doing things in unison, they had the most to learn. And I think, if you look at the high school teachers' course load, they're teaching 3 different disciplines usually in 3 different preparations. And so, it's getting alignment from teacher to teacher is it's going to be a little bit trickier just because of the numbers of individuals involved there. But if you look at across the board, to see students, 22, 23% better at that one skill, and really, it's only a few cycles of these a year. So in just a few short iterations of this cycle, we call it a data cycle, that 0.23, if you're rounding up, or the 23%, it amounts to about a third of a year of schooling that we've caught students up on average. And if we look at anything that's 40 or 50 or even more, that's a half a year or more that we're catching kids up with that one skill. Now imagine if we build a small bank of assessment items that we're going to use. The spoiler is I'm almost finished with this work. We'll be done by the end of the week so that we can actually do this in unison next year. So if we increase our sample size and then see these types of results, then, a person like myself and folks such as yourselves will have a lot more to hang our hat on to in terms of, knowing whether or not the program we built and or implementing is having the desired effect that we want, all right? Okay. So, there are a lot of positive highlights that I can point to. Here are just a few. The added or revised program, one thing that you probably do need to know is that with teacher input, we revise our grade level curriculum each summer. All right, as part of a normal curriculum cycle. And so for me, that's about a 6 or 7 year period that culminates in an internal complete audit of our program. And then in year 7, we will invite member districts from outside of Fitchburg to come in and audit our program so that they look for things like alignment. They look for things like the impact we all want. They look for things like to what degree are we facilitating student-centered learning across grade levels, across grade spans, right? And it's important that we get to year 7 and then the process starts, so we don't stop revising, we continue the work because our students change every year, and so we want to ensure that whatever we do has puts the needs of our students first, which is why we have curriculum documents that are living, breathing documents that will never stay stagnant. And it also should be said about teaching practices; they should not stay stagnant. That our clientele is different today than they were 30 years ago. We therefore, should be changing what we do depending on our clientele. And if you go to any private business, they will tell you that they've had to adapt and change their business practices over the last 30 years or so to stay relevant, to stay in business, because quite frankly, the alternative is unacceptable, and that means they're not in business anymore. All right. So we don't ever want to go out of business, if that makes sense. All right. Here's some other positive highlights. So this is just an overview of the grants that I've already submitted. One of them is in collaboration with our 21st Century Director, Lauren Mountain, to bring SEL and service learning to our civics classes as well, because it naturally kind of fits there in our programs. Some of these you've seen, so so I'm not going to spend a lot of time with them, but we want our local civics events to be even bigger and better than last year's. So this was our inaugural high school event. We want that to be a lot bigger this year. This is Generation Citizen State Civics Day. This was at the Ted Kennedy Center. I'm pleased to announce that we will be sending at least 4 student groups, 2 from each of our middle schools, to that event, most likely on June 2nd, and that is the one that they're holding in Worcester. So we always ask for additional slots because we want as much student representation as possible, and every year we've gotten them, which is a nice problem to have. These are examples of transformed teaching and learning, and then our most recent highlights that I'd like to spend a little bit of time talking about. So on your left, you'll see 2 photos from our guest speaker panel that took place just this past Friday on the 28th. So Mayor Squally, again, thank you so much for being a part of that. Counselor Cragen, who was here earlier today, she was among our speakers, and it was wonderful for me to see about 400 people total in that high school auditorium, most of them being grades 8 and 12 students and their teachers and chaperones to hear our local stakeholders talk about their backgrounds, their jobs, but also how, and this relates to civic engagement, how they collaborate with other stakeholders to address the issues that they are, to get the job done. Because students are, that's what they're charged with at both grades 8 and 12. They are charged with engaging with stakeholders, engaging with research, with each other, to identify a community issue of focus for them, something that they see in either their school or their local community that they see as maybe problematic, but at the very least, something that could be better. All right. And so the goal with Action Civics in the way that it's intended is not to stop at merely raising awareness or a one-off type of service learning event like cleaning up on Earth Day. Those are all very important things, but getting to root systemic causes for why these problems are still problematic. That is at the heart of action research. That's what I'm trained in. That's my doctoral work. But also, that is at the heart of what students are going to be asked to do. And so, we thought it was a worthy thing to transport students from the 2 middle schools to make this a mandatory event for grade 12 students, because it gives them all an opportunity to engage with stakeholders from our local community. And it's an assignment they would have had to do anyway. So we kind of made the lift half as heavy for everyone. And it was great to see. And it was great to see so many kids ask intelligent questions. I wasn't expecting the Q&A portion of that to be so long, but I'm glad it was. It was a nice problem to have because we had, close to 30 students at different grade levels asking intelligent questions, engaging with all of our speakers. It was great to see. And I think students, they understood that we're doing this because we want them to be civic-minded adults. We want them to be empowered and to realize that they do have a stake, like anybody else, in how things play out in their local community, in their state community, and they know how the systems work, and they know how to interface and engage with individuals to be change agents themselves. And if you're looking at like what is the true measure of a democracy's health, well, some would argue, and I think I would second that it's an individual citizen's ability to apply what they've learned, to engage, to function as influencers and change agents themselves. And without that, we don't have a healthy democracy when I think the statistics now are at 8% of adults participate in some local government. And the number 1 and 2 reasons, other than I don't have the time they would give you, is my voice doesn't count, I feel powerless, and I don't know how to do it. And so by arming our students at an early age with that knowledge, we're empowering them, and we hope that they continue. All right. And the other thing that you see in the far right is our mock trial club this year, and I'm proud to announce that they went to states. So they won their region this past Sunday. I don't know what the result of that was, but they went to the state competition to compete with other schools who have a lot more experience than them. They're one of the only urban public school districts that had representation there. So, they were going head to head with wealthy, prestigious suburban and private schools. And so to see Fitchburg on that stage, to me was incredible. And when I heard about it, I talked to Dan Kerouac, our instructional coach at the high school who co-sponsors and co-advises this. I said, Dan, this is something I'd love to include because, there are a lot of great things like this happening in our schools. The public needs to hear about them. So.
And this is our second year with that program, right?
Second or third.
Third, right?
Yeah.
We brought it back because I think it used to exist years ago. But
It did. My daughter's team finished second in the state.
Yeah, but something that we just brought back.
It was about 1995 or so.
Yeah, and really, that was not done under my direction. So all the credit, it rests with Dan Kerouac and with Mrs. Alyssa Campbell at the high school. Alyssa is an outstanding teacher. We're lucky to have her, and students are lucky to have her. So it's nice to see that type of work and collegiality happen organically. That's the culture that we want, and it's nice to see that developing. This is just probably a scratch of the surface about what we still need to do. We're, in terms of implementation, we see very good things across the board, but, they're far from perfect. We know that teachers need to benefit from increased professional development. We know we need to increase experiential learning and inquiry-based learning. And we need to do some more to make all of what we do from a social studies lens completely transparent for families and parents as well. So we will be finished with our grade level common assessment banks by the end of this week, and I expect that we will implement them starting next year to increase the sample of data that we already have, so that we really can evaluate the effectiveness of our program. So at this point, I will take questions or feedback that y'all have. I want to thank you for your attention today.
Questions for Dr. Matarosian?
No, that was very thorough.
Very impressive.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's not a question. It's just as you spoke, and as I was listening, I was having sequential thoughts, and the breadth of it is stunning, absolutely stunning, and I'm so glad that you're doing this.
Yeah. No. Thank you so much.
I had one question along the line about. Sometimes you can sound like you like you are intelligent about a subject or a question, and, you give an answer. And it sounds like you know it, but maybe you don't really understand its depth. And that's a challenge. You understand what I mean? I mean, you mentioned a couple of times how historically things were saved by, whatever culture. And then I also wondered about, so you so frequently mentioned, and you wanted it to be, the child to be driven by their own inquiries and thoughts, but those are undeveloped and raw thoughts, and a teacher teaches them to come out of lack of knowledge into knowledge. So I just wondered about how much emphasis would be given.
Sure.
You understand what I mean?
Yes, yeah, and they're both very good questions, and they are both at the forefront of the work we've been doing. So, we wrote our curriculum documents deliberately, driven by that shared vision, so that teachers are being asked to give up some of the minutia of content and just not march through it, right? We want students to be able to think deeply, and if they don't have a deep conceptual understanding of the basic thing, I'll give you an example in a minute. They won't be able to apply any of the knowledge that we throw at them unless we create the conditions that empower them to do so, right? So, I'll give you an example, something that I use an example when I develop teachers and train them. So, in world history, there's the concept called a schism or a split, and it specifically refers to religion, all right? So we want the students to understand what that concept means, but by no stretch or means do we want to have teachers or students pressured to learn about each and every one of those schisms that's happened in history, all right? They need to understand why people who practice the same religion have different ideas and how that causes some to branch out, and the ripple effects that those schisms create, right? So example, we know in the Christian world, happened in, I think, 1054 is the exact year, where we have the first real split in the Christian church, where half of the world as we knew it decided that they were no longer going to be Roman Catholic. That because of cultural blending and people living in this new Byzantine Empire, that ended up being more Slavic and Russian and Greek than Roman. And so if you look at the Eastern Orthodox Church and you compare it, that is the first real split in the Christian church. All right, but that's not the only example that exists out there in historical knowledge. And so, we ask teachers to ensure that our students have that concept under their belts, but we're giving them freedom to choose the illustrative example that they are going to use with their students. So if they want to look at the split in the Buddhist religion, for example, and look at the difference between Theravada and Zen, they can certainly do that and help students to trace their historical roots. Why do we have different versions, right? Or perhaps, where did that come from in the first place? And how did that spread throughout the world, right? So that speaks to the depth that we want students to be able to acquire at all levels, not just the kids at the top who are historically probably receiving that. Does that help you there?
It touches the subject, but depth is an individual thing, and it has so many ramifications as to your receptivity and your natural inclinations and things. And I'm just giving you thoughts that I had as you went along. I also wondered about, there was a period there as I was listening to you about how much knowledge we have lost. And, I've always found that fascinating, even the fact that we've lost. I mean, people used to navigate the seas by the stars, and need, specific instrumentation, and that's a tremendous knowledge. So we've lost a lot of knowledge, lost a lot of languages, and even that concept, and are still losing it daily.
Yeah, and more history is being made as you speak, so it's not stagnant.
So I just had a concept of the teaching of virtues, of personal strengths. Anyway, you can't do everything.
No, certainly not. And if you look at a lot of the studies out there, even about state frameworks, the studies, and this is Wiggins and McTighe, those who authored the UBD book, Understanding by Design, they've done this research, and if you were to take any one grade level standards, especially for history and social studies, it would take an extra 9 years to explicitly teach, and assess all of that. And so the other thing that we did with design is we selected the big ideas, aka power standards, that we felt would be the greatest use for our students to not only understand the world they're living in now, the country or city, right? But also understand their place in it, but also be global citizen, understand, where they fit in the world. But to your point about student agency, the only way we do that is we create those types of environments for students where, we don't want a single student to walk into any classroom and feel inadequate and not feel included and not feel valued. The greatest thing about history is that we all have a story. And students need to understand that their story has a place, and their voice has a place, and their thoughts have a place. And then the teachers can use the different strategies that we model and teach them and have them practice to build off of that. So we're not just accepting the first thing that students say. We're following that up with a probing or a clarifying question, because we want to challenge all students, no matter who they are, to think more deeply about themselves, to think more deeply about what they're studying. And to really see beyond, we're extending beyond the activity that's right in front of us. We're extending the learning for all students.
It's very comprehensive.
Yeah. Yes.
Do teachers tend to have the students do this kind of work on a more individual basis, or in like group settings, to try and kind of help each other to pull that information out? Sometimes, you just jog each other's memory, thoughts when you're kind of hashing things out in a group.
Yeah. So the answer is that if you were to tour our classrooms, and I really would like for you to see, and then to give me feedback about how they're doing, right? You'll see the gamut. So, we certainly know that students are going to be growing up, and they're going to be part of a world where they do need to, do more than just play nice in the sandbox, right? They have to be able to collaborate and learn from others who may not have come from their walk of life, who may look different, who may speak differently, right? But they all bring their own strengths, and they add to the learning. They don't take away from the group's learning, right? So we want those types of environments. So you'll see some group-driven, you'll see some pairs work, and on, depending on the circumstances, you might see individuals. So, a lot of our students who are older, our high school students, it's been reported to me, and it's been my observation, that a lot of the power struggles that we see at the high school level are for little things like that, where we have, young adults who want to be treated like autonomous young adults, right? And so when, so I'll tell you a real quick anecdote. So I was in a development meeting with Dan Kurak, who was my instructional coach, and he was working with a teacher who was struggling to get kids to work together, and as a result, nothing really was getting done. And so, I asked him a question that I encouraged him to ask that teacher. Had it ever occurred that you would eliminate the power struggle by giving students the choice, by giving them the agency, and then seeing if you got better results? And lo and behold, teacher was receptive. That's how they designed that activity. And what was reported back is engagement from all students increased, not just the kids who historically had done the work. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions for Dr. Matarosian?
Very thorough. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Have a good night. Thank you. John, you can...
Night.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Back. Oh, I'll lose it on you. Thank you, John.
Have a good night, John.
Have a good night. Drive safe. Thank you. All right, moving on with my report this evening. So we've been, as you all know, we've been working with Tracy Novak from the Massachusetts Association of School Committees, and we've been learning a lot. And when we have these opportunities for reviewing our policies, we're also asking and making sure we're following all our procedures correctly, too. So one of the things that actually came up, I think it was last meeting, was about an actionable item on the agenda because it wasn't listed under actionable item. So we did clarify that with Tracy. Tracy did say as long as it's on the agenda, it can be an actionable item. It doesn't have to be listed as an actionable item. So if that ever comes up again, as long as the item is on the agenda, we're all set to move forward. So I just wanted to make sure that was clarified and we were aware of that. The other area tonight is regarding the student representatives update. So I found out some information, again, in my work with Tracy Novak and the policy subcommittee. Tonight, underneath the policy items, number 6601.01, student members to the school committee. This is the policy that we need to talk about moving forward. We don't have a current policy like this. But this is a policy that I would like to recommend that we adopt moving forward. I'm going to read it to you out of order, if that's okay, because it does correspond with the student representatives and what we need to do moving forward. So I'm going to review that policy with you. It's called Student Members to the School Committee. As appropriate to the age of the students, class, or student organizations and school government organizations, such as school councils, may be formed to offer practice in self-government and to serve as channels for the expression of students' ideas and opinions. The committee will take into consideration student opinions in establishing policies that directly affect student programs, activities, privileges, and other areas of student sensitivity. Students will be welcomed at committee meetings and granted privileges of speaking in line with the privileges extended to the general public. And then the next section is called Student Advisory Committee. As required by state law, the committee will meet at least once every other month while school is in session with its Student Advisory Committee, which is composed of 5 students elected by high school student body. 3 shall be elected from the student body, and this is what we added to make it Fitchburg. 3 shall be elected from the student body of Fitchburg High School. 2 shall be elected by Goodrich Academy. The chair of the Student Advisory Committee will be the ex officio non-voting member of the school committee without the right to attend executive sessions unless each right is expressly granted by the school committee. So that being said, moving forward, what we need to do for our student reps is this committee needs to be formed, and we need to meet with them as a school committee every other month during the school year. What typically happens is we come together in June to actually vote on the 3 members for the high school and the 2 members of Goodrich. So the recommendation for Tracy is touch base with the 2 members that we already had this year, Selena and James, to see if they're willing to stay on for the rest of this school year. And then in June, we will move forward with having an election and then making sure we have 3 representatives from Fitchburg High School, 2 representatives from Goodrich, and then that group, that Student Advisory Committee, will vote 1 member to actually sit here on school committee.
That will be the chair.
Why can't we start the Student Advisory Committee in March and get it going for this school year?
Because we would have to then have another vote in June to re-elect new officials again.
And would that give them enough time?
It won't give them enough time,
to
yeah.
run an election?
Yep. So the recommendation was to continue with, from now until June, with the same 2 members, and then do this the correct way and actually have a student advisory committee. Did I miss anything, Debbie? Because we both,
No,
and Lindsay, that's what the recommendation was.
So how did the students get elected?
So they'll be elected by their student body.
So it's like a student council?
Yes. Yep.
Is it like a student council, or is it like
The 3 students can be any grade.
In any grade, yep.
In any grade at Fitchburg High School or Goodrich?
Or Goodrich, yes.
Yes. So the 3 from the high school, whatever grades they come from, and
chair is
then,
the only
and
one
then the
that
2 from
Yeah.
Goodrich, the same.
So out of that, once those students are elected, 3 for Fitchburg High, 2 for Goodrich, then those students will decide which one is the chair that will then come here and sit and report out. For the
Which
student
students at both schools will have to know what the commitment is, so they know that it's not the same anymore
I think
when they show interest.
And they are an active participant of our meetings.
Correct.
So they,
It says students will be welcomed at committee meetings and granted privileges of speaking in line with the privileges extended to the general public.
I think to the mayor's point.
they are allowed to respond and not vote to
No vote is
anything
the only
that
thing they
is
can't do.
The only thing they
discussed
can't
in the sessions.
Yep.
May I say something now?
Yes, go ahead.
You done? To the mayor's point, I had the same question. And I don't think that we necessarily have to say because we don't have the time to take a vote and then we need a new one. This, in the beginning of anything, I think we could understand that this was a time of formation and understanding, because in our group, I was also at the policy meeting that you referred to, we had trouble understanding it, and just exactly what do they want and how do they do it, because these ways aren't set yet. And to say that, well, we just simply, what if wait until, if we ask these 2 students, which already they don't have the groups, we're not meeting the criteria of meeting with them every couple of months. There's a lot, it's the beginning. We're just beginning to, and I think I also would like to see something done between now and June to get this started and make our way along it. And
When does the election happen?
The election happens in June.
The election with the student body?
It just has to happen before June.
It has to happen before June, and those students who are elected then start out right in September representing the school committee at the meetings.
But there's a lot that could go on in forming the concept of this. I can see you.
Agreed, but I think if we want student representatives, the idea is that we continue here, and then there is certainly groundwork that we can lay for the upcoming, because there is process, there is procedure, and it is very clear, the steps in terms of what the expectation is for these roles. And I think one of the major things we talked about is there's opportunity for us to do some of that work so that by June, we're prepared to do elections at the school.
I think perhaps this doctor that was speaking to us also could be helpful in helping us in knowing what resources we have. My experience here has been that it's 1 male and 1 female, and that they have to be seniors or something like that.
Yeah, I think we're moving
We weren't doing that
forward.
correctly, Rosemary.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things that I discovered, that we needed to make sure we clean this up. And this was the correct way that we were.
So we have to work towards it.
We have to work towards this.
Not just wait till June and then we say you need an election.
Right, so that will give us time to work with Goodrich. We'll work with Fitchburg High to make sure the administration understands
Have
what
we
the
ever had
requirement
anyone
is.
from Goodrich here?
We've never have, no.
Yeah, see,
No.
We want to make
that-
sure we
Yeah.
do it the correct way.
Yep.
Yes, it would take
So-
time.
Yeah.
And let's make the effort now.
Right, so it will allow us to actually inform the student body. It will give us the opportunity to make sure students are aware of exactly what this will entail. And it'll also then allow you to decide what months that you guys will actually want to meet with this subcommittee moving forward, because that will take some time from your.
Well, it's set to meet with the committee, not with the subcommittees.
Well, sorry, all of you, the
Yeah.
committee. Yep.
That's a big deal. It's
Yeah.
a big change. So
It is a big
It
change.
takes a lot of
Right.
attention, yeah.
Yep. Jim?
So two points or questions, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the first part of this policy has nothing to do with the Student Advisory Committee. my reading. This is about students coming who want to express their opinion about a particular policy that we're considering to be approved.
Correct.
Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the
It's
second
all,
paragraph.
all underneath together, yes.
And then the second paragraph is about electing the Student Advisory Committee.
Correct.
And right now, is there some type of student government organization at Fitchburg High?
So he has a school council. Yes,
council.
he has a school council. This is separate from the school council.
Or it could be related.
No, it cannot be related.
That question was asked.
Yeah, it has to be separate.
Separate. But the person who's, say, the head of the student government could also be.
He could,
on this
yeah,
committee.
if he wanted to.
Right,
run
yeah,
for that.
Serve on both.
Yep. Okay.
The problem is that the Fitchburg High School Student Council doesn't include Goodrich.
Right.
And Goodrich needs to be included in the vote. They need to be included in
Okay.
how the council is constructed.
And then when we meet as a school committee with the Student Advisory Committee, would it be in the evening? Would it be after
During the school day, it says.
You could,
Is it?
you could.
While school is in
No,
session?
what they mean by that is not in summertime.
Right, it's that.
Yeah, yeah.
You could meet at 5 o'clock before the 6 o'clock school committee meeting.
And it would be a public meeting?
Yes.
Okay, all right, okay.
During the actual school year.
Yep, we'd have to post the meeting and everything. Yep.
Okay.
John, you're saying we have to elect them in June, by June? We can't do it, we can't do it in September?
No, it said we had to, they said it had to be done by June to start off beginning in September.
So we are eliminating a class. Will not, the freshman class will not be involved.
Correct?
We can
Every
work
year-
with that.
Every
Could
year, the
possibly-
freshman class at Fitchburg High School will not be involved because they will not be there.
Is there a way?
Yeah, and we talked about that actually during the meeting. Is there a way for us to involve the 8th graders in this so they do have a chance to be on the council? So there's a lot of groundwork that we need to do in order to make sure that we get the correct students
Don't do
together.
something with 8th grade. Freshman class will not be represented in September because they will have been 8th graders, and the vote will have taken place in June while they're in the 8th grade.
Does it have to be the first year by June, and then the next years we could do it in the fall?
No,
Because it does seem,
it says by the way that the law described it, we need to vote by June to have everything set. So when September rolls around, we can start having our first meeting with the elected students.
how do we fill vacant positions? That's not noted here. If a student moves, it gets elected, but then moves away in September, by September.
That's a question we'll have to.
It's 5 people, then we would have to elect someone else.
Right.
Yep.
So you'd have to hold like a special election.
Yep.
Says,
Kind of like,
We should put that in the policy.
I think the procedures is coming, correct? on
Yeah,
this?
I think
Yeah, we
that's
didn't get to the
separate.
procedures yet.
Okay.
so it says 3 shall be elected from the student body at Fitchburg High, 2 from Goodrich Academy.
We added that in there.
Okay, and then, so, okay, it's the student body who elects the student,
Yes.
not us.
Not us.
No.
It's not like
We're
Not
talking-
us.
Some people are talking like we're elected.
No,
but
it's
we're
the
not.
student
Okay,
body.
that's
It's the
I
student
wanted to
body.
clarify that.
Student
Okay.
body.
Student
Yeah,
body.
okay.
Can we run the election in May? June feels too late.
well, it has to be, because it has to be by
It
June.
has to be by June,
Has to
so
be
we
by
can
June.
run it in May.
We can.
Yeah.
But I have to do my work to get the administrators up to par on this,
Yeah.
in addition to the students, and we have to educate them. So that's why my recommendation is let us do the work to educate everyone of the new policies that we're trying to implement around the school student advisory committee, so we can actually get this set up to be successful.
So this first year, we'll say in June, freshmen, sophomores, and juniors would vote, because seniors will be then gone.
Right.
Right.
All right, and then the following year,
We could do it
It'll
earlier,
be-
right? We could do it before June or May or June. We could do it the second half of the year to get everyone all set. So we have.
But seniors would not be eligible.
No, seniors
Right.
would be
He'll be
eligible.
leaving.
It'd be 8th grade, yeah.
Not a question.
Yeah, I mean, timing-wise, June would work pretty well because they typically vote their class officers for the following year in June as well.
We
So,
could
I mean,
wrap
if
it up
this
with
is
that.
incorporated into that,
They vote class officers? So
they
we
do,
could-
yeah.
We
in
could put it
June
on
for the
the same
next
ballot.
year.
Right.
Yep, so you could have,
Do it all at the same
kids
time?
typically make a speech to their classmates, and this would just be an added component, and anyone, and I would assume, like you said, Jim, a student could potentially run for class president, but also a member of this advisory
I would
council.
think that they would.
Yeah, I would too.
In high school, each class has a set of offices, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior.
Correct.
Yep. And then the freshmen do it in the fall, because they haven't been there yet.
Yeah, and if we're going to have the 8th grade do it, then it makes sense too to you wait, because then they know where they're going for high school.
Correct.
Right.
And the two middle schools come
Right, that's the
together.
other part, because people don't know yet.
Could be done in the fall.
No.
In that
No.
instance.
They're going to know where they're going.
Yeah.
at the end
By
of this,
May.
You know, by.
Yeah, they'll know by
Maybe
May.
100
So-
eighth graders.
So if we do it,
Not going to Fitchburg High School.
right.
So how would we run 8th grade? We'd also have a ballot for the Fitchburg High or Goodrich Academy Student Advisory Committee, and we'd run another election in both Longstreau and Memorial?
Yeah, Jeremy, when do they vote for the freshman class?
That would be tough,
In the
because
fall.
Goodrich really doesn't,
Yeah.
they do it in the fall. The schools have to come together first, and then you also receive students from other schools beyond Longjo and Memorial as well into that 9th grade. Kids from St. Bernard's come in, kids from Sizer come in. So they do it in typically early October for the class office position for the remainder of that freshman year. I think Goodrich really doesn't have freshman class, so again, for them, it's irrelevant in that sense.
Could we have a situation where this student advisory committee really is intended for 10th, 11th, and 12th grade?
Yes,
Totally.
that's fine, absolutely. As long as
That
they're
would make more sense,
representation.
because it's the students that are in the school at that time.
Right.
Because then they would come to the meetings also more aware of what goes on when they're talking about policies that affect students.
Right, because they've already.
You know, a freshman, if a freshman got elected, they don't really,
Just trying to find the gym.
They don't know
they're
what
getting
happened.
their feedback.
They have to learn
Right. Yeah.
what Fitchburg High is before.
Exactly,
So you're right, so it would
exactly.
probably be,
So freshmen would be able to attend student advisory committee meetings. They'd be able to come to
They could,
the
yep.
school committee meetings and voice their opinions during public comment. And their representative would be the chair of the student advisory committee that would sit as an ex officio member who could ask questions throughout the meeting, give the student advisory committee report, ask questions throughout the meeting. They just don't get a vote.
No votes.
But the advisory committee is made up of 5 students.
Right, but the chair serves on the school
Serves on-
committee.
Chair is,
No.
yes,
No.
yes.
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 Isn't it the person who's voted?
Yeah, well, that's the chair.
Out of the
Oh, it's going to
five.
be the chair.
It will be the chair.
Okay,
Whoever's voted chair of the student advisory committee also serves on
okay.
the
Sits over there.
school committee.
School committee, yeah.
They get to give the report, and they get to ask questions throughout the meeting.
Correct.
I love that.
Yes. Yeah.
However, experientially so far, their tradition seems to me to be that they feel that they come and they update us on what's going on at the high school. And if you recall the young man that was previously, he did have a lot of things to say about the high school and present a lot of questions to the school committee for changes and a lot of different things. So that's a big task, huh, to...
Big time.
Do we expect them, this wasn't really said that they were expected to come here and let us know about the high school? But that is what it's fallen into, that they tell us.
Well, they report out on the activities that are happening throughout the district.
And this came up at the meeting because I said I was going to miss the updates on all the buildings that we've been getting. And like we said, there's a committee. So the chair can delegate, and they could get the info from all the buildings of what's going on and give to that representative, and we can still get all that report.
Yeah, I think that'll fall together pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because it's a student advisory committee doesn't mean that it's only Fitchburg High and Goodrich.
No.
It's those students are elected from there, but they are the student advisory committee of the entire district.
Correct.
Yep.
And I will say, this year's student advisors, if my memory serves it correctly, are the ones who did more reporting about what went on in other schools than previous members.
Yeah.
Nothing against
more
what they
than any
did,
of them.
but they kind of focused on the high school, where these made a point to find out what was going on at the middle school, the elementary schools.
Yep. But that can still be a part of the report.
Yes,
Right.
yeah.
So
All right.
This is an improvement.
it's getting better, right?
I like
We're learning.
this.
I think it will allow us, if we can, in the next several months, if we can start working with the administrators, informing students and educating them of this process, exactly what they're going to do, and actually let them know how to actually sit on a committee, ask questions, be an active participant. Let us do that work with Goodrich and Fitchburg High students now, so we can actually have this committee up and running in September.
And so when we meet with them, we can meet and all have like a joint committee of the Fit School Committee
You could
and the
have-
Student
you could sit in
Advisory
here,
Committee. We
right?
can all sit at the,
Yeah.
Be nice.
we could even get them nameplates.
Exactly.
And if you have to tweak it, the policy committee can revise it again. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. So what I like to do is, if it's okay with you, ask James and Selena if they continue
Yes.
for the rest of the year, and then we'll start working with Fitchburg High School and Goodrich to get this up and running for September.
What if they say no?
Who's that?
James and Selena.
Then we'll just
I just-
continue like we.
I asked them already, and
They said yes?
James said yes already.
Okay.
I pulled James out and asked him, and he said yes tonight.
Okay.
So James is willing, Selena might be willing too.
Good.
Good.
Okay, this is on our action items to approve.
Just for the first.
Hold on, wait.
Lindsay!
I've been trying to be so patient.
You did a great job. I didn't even notice you.
Thank you.
Just jump in there.
So twofold, after further discussion and thinking about it more, I do agree that and I understand your topic your question on the table today, by the way. I do understand that. And I realize everything we've been discussing is a little bit aside from that. But I do agree that maybe trying to have an election with the eighth graders could provide a lot of challenges. Half of the student body, or half of the eighth grade student body, I should say, could be going to Monty Tech and may not want to participate with that. And I think it could just get really confusing. But I do think that we need to keep in mind the possibility of what Mayor Squalia, you brought up, what happens if we need like a special election. I think we maybe need to consider that during the school year, if something happens and someone vacates the position, that we do open that up to freshmen as well under the
Perfect.
special
That's
election.
a great idea, yeah. Yeah, open it up to anyone that's available in the school, right?
That way we
That's
don't
interesting.
Yeah. if
totally
they left-
exclude them.
Yeah, if they left, absolutely.
on a school
Because it
year,
could
then it
be
would be
someone that moved,
all of them.
transferred into Fitchburg as well.
Correct.
At another grade level,
Yeah.
I like that.
I appreciate your support on this. I'm glad we're able to do this correctly now, and we're able to get more student voice and hopefully more students engaged in this process. So-
And then the student engaged, they inform us.
Yes.
We don't know what we don't know sometimes when it comes to student body, student activity, like the real things that happen on the ground.
So I started my first meeting today because I thought the same thing with the Student Advisory Council for the Superintendent. I met with 2 middle schoolers and a high schooler. Goodrich wasn't able to show up, but let me tell you, they gave me an earful today. So if you want the answer, you go to students. I'll tell you everything.
Well, that's like tonight, having those students come up. I always love to see the students come, That's what we're here for, yeah.
All right, thank you. I will work on this, and we will get this up and running in Fitchburg, so thank you. The next topic for this evening is the Crocker Field rental fee. So in your packet, there is a Crocker Field rental fee structure that we went over last year, correct, Mr. Roach? In our
In June.
resource
Yeah.
in Building Needs Committee, we met in June.
Yes.
To develop a new fee structure specifically for Crocker Field.
Because now we can rent it out because
Now we
got
can
the
rent
term.
it out. Yes.
We never had before.
Yeah.
That's
So
right.
that being said, we already have some people interested, so I thought it would be the right time to review this with everyone. So, Mr. Roach, do you want me to run through this, or do you want to run through this
It's up to
together?
you.
We can both do it?
Yeah, sure.
So on top, you'll see the fee structure for the rental rate. For nonprofit rate, it's $225 per hour. That's for nonprofit, anyone that's a nonprofit. For profit or nonprofit fundraising rate, so any organization that's for-profit or a nonprofit fundraising rate, that's $350 per hour. For special events, Fitchburg Public Schools will determine approval and a negotiated rate for the event. For police services, for any of the different groups, whether it's nonprofit, for-profit, or special events, that will be as required by Fitchburg Public Schools or the Fitchburg Police Department.
You mean like police detail requirements?
Details, correct. Yep. Those are details.
Kind of sounds like you're saying for events that police hold.
Oh. Is that
We can change it to
as required?
detail.
Police
Okay.
details
Police
is kind of
details?
a vernacular.
Okay, we can update that. So, the explanation of the fees, the rental rate. A 3-hour minimum rental rate is required. The rental rate includes the use of the field house, the sound system, the scoreboard, field lights, site administrator, and custodial fees. A $50 hourly custodial fee is based on event setup, 30 minutes prior to the event, start through 30 minutes after scheduled event. Additional custodial charges may apply based on actual cleanup necessary. Each additional hour is charged at $100 per hour utilizing 2 custodians or $50 per hour utilizing 1 custodian. For the site administrator, an hourly $50 site administrator fee will be assessed to provide a resource to help with lights, sound, scoreboard, liaison to Fitchburg PD, and to ensure renters are complying with the Crocker Field procedures and rules. For police coverage, all renters of Crocker Field must contact the Fitchburg Police Department regarding police coverage at an event. The Fitchburg Police Department will determine the level of police coverage needed at the event. The renter is responsible for coordinating and paying the Fitchburg Police Department directly for any services provided. For special events, the use of Crocker Field for special events will be reviewed by Fitchburg Public Schools. If approved, the rental fee will be based on a negotiated rate with the superintendent of schools or designee. For interscholastic athletic rentals of the field, the Fitchburg Public Schools reserves the right to determine whether to charge a rental rate for the use of the field or require spectators to pay the Fitchburg Public Schools approved ticket prices for admission to the event. All ticket sales collected will be kept by the Fitchburg Public Schools. This determination will be made by the Fitchburg the Fitchburg Public Schools at the time of rental application. For food and beverages, the Crocker Field operates a full-service concession stand. Renters must indicate at the time of the rental if the concession stand is required to be operated. There is no additional charge for concession stand services. However, no renter is permitted to sell food or beverages at Crocker Field. And then last but not least, rules about payment and use of fields. In accordance with the Fitchburg Public Schools, all payments must be made in advance in order to be issued a rental permit for Crocker Field. The Fitchburg Public Schools reserves the right to deny rental applications for the use of the Crocker Field to any individual or group that have outstanding rental payments due with the Fitchburg Public Schools.
We came up with these rules after consultation with many area schools and their rental fees and structures. So this is a compilation of all of that, and Mr. Roach pulled all of those together.
Yeah. It was a pretty extensive list of schools. I think one of the things that, we got from feedback from other school districts that had either recently or had been renting out their stadiums was that if you don't charge enough, it will get destroyed. and we just can't afford that. I mean, the field itself was $700,000 in this most recent project. They are expected to last 10 to 14 years, depending upon the amount of surface hours, that are utilized. If it's 1,800 hours a year, you can expect 10 years. If it's a little less, a little more. If it's a little more, maybe a little less. So, we want to be caretakers of the facility. We want to have a great rental agreement. I think we will consider, there are nonprofits, and then there are nonprofits that serve almost exclusively Fitchburg resident participants. So I think we do want to look at, another layer potentially for groups like that.
Discretionary, special events?
We want to be good partners, I guess. But at the same time, we do have to maintain that facility. And to Mr. Stevens' point, there were 15 different schools in Central Mass that we consulted with and took an aggregate, of a lot of the different rental fees that they were looking at. Foley Stadium in Worcester makes a lot of sense because it's not at any one school in particular. It does have some of that historic significance like Crocker, not to the same extent, but I would say similarly. And a lot of what Superintendent Thompson described, was, I would say, pretty comparable with what we saw from the Worcester Public Schools Foley Stadium rental agreement.
Thank you.
I have a few questions. So, they submit a certificate of liability insurance. Is there a value of that certificate of liability insurance? Do we require a deposit for certain functions?
Yep, generally those are $1 million, is what we've seen with other organizations. But it's a good point to maybe clarify that, that we would expect that.
So on that note, so it's notes police coverage. All renters of Crocker Field must contact Fitchburg Police Department regarding coverage. So the city of Fitchburg has developed a public assembly event permit, right? So if you have more than 50 persons at an event, then you apply for a public assembly permit, which goes to, it's often at a park, so it goes to fire, police, park, the mayor, other, I don't know, city entities.
Yeah.
And that they kind of say, oh, if you're going to have this, you're going to need this. If you're going to have this, you're going to need this. Oh, you're going to need a police detail. So I would say instead of they must contact the police department, you should probably also have considerations of, do you need EMT coverage? Do you need is there other support?
Safety measures.
Right.
Like that.
So
Yeah.
if it was tied to, if you were anticipating having 50 or more persons at your event, you're required to obtain a public assembly permit from the city of Fitchburg, and that kind of streamlines
Would
it.
that be the same thing for a school department, though? If it's a school building or a school facility? We got to ask.
It is typically not in other communities.
Right, but we should ask that
So,
question.
I mean,
We can
if
find
it's-
out.
If it's not a school event,
Yeah.
but you're renting it, it's a school building, and you're renting it out for a, function
Right.
that's over 50 people.
That's a different.
It would make sense to let the fire department know, let the police department know, DPW, parks, I don't know.
Sure.
Whatever.
I know when Beth and I don't do it anymore, we go to it, when we would have our race on Thanksgiving morning, we had to get a permit from the fire department just to have the race.
Just to have it, okay.
Have the race.
And now that permit is online, so it's easier to fill out,
great.
and then all the departments
So we
be
can link
notified.
that.
Can even link it.
possibly. Yeah, that
Yeah.
permit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Related to this,
Online, Sam.
the football field that's next to Memorial,
Yes.
is that a school, is that privately owned, or is it, it's a city of Fitchburg?
You mean the one across
Nicodemus
the street?
Field.
There's one behind the school
Yeah,
that we
The one
allow.
that's down the hill from the
Yeah.
school?
Nicodemus. That's Nicodemus, not the school field.
Okay.
Nicodemus Field. That's private.
That's not
That's okay.
Not us.
Okay.
That's the city of Fitchburg Park.
Yes.
correct.
Yeah.
Not us.
But
So,
we do allow a program to use the one behind Memorial as well. One of the football, use
soccer.
AYF, yeah.
I didn't know
That
what
won't have any lighting, though.
they did in terms of police and all the other safety issues about a permit when they used that football field for, I don't know if it's still used for Pop Warner or.
Well, I remember being there several times, and there was EMT, fire, police, they had details there, so.
Oh, at Nicodemus Field?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah, they require, for like the football games, Lindsay would know.
You have to have an EMT.
Police detail and an EMT, but they often can't fill those. So, I've reached out to the fire chief and the police chief to see, make sure we can fill those, but, they're required to ask, at least.
Yeah.
Also, it doesn't really note here the schedule. So would we be intending to rent Crocker Field out year-round? For example, Cogsall Park is only allowed to be rented from November, March, the first weekend of March or the second weekend of March through November 1st, something like that. Would we want to rent Crocker Field in the winter?
Potentially, it could be where it is. No, but I think in terms of your question, Mayor, it's an excellent one. With a turf field, you certainly can. And there will be a lot of interest for summer, for sure.
Definitely.
I don't know about winter. Like right now, it would be
Spring, summer,
tough.
fall, definitely.
Yeah.
But you can clear those, you can clear ice and snow off a turf field pretty efficiently and get the playing surface up to, whatever the competition might be. I don't know what type of winter sport would use it necessarily.
Do we heat the bathrooms? Do we winterize the bathrooms?
We do. That would be then a separate problem.
So if we can't provide bathroom facilities, like if there's a time where we have to close bathroom facilities.
That would be a problem.
Yeah.
It would,
You'd either have to rent the type of units that, would be allowed by the Department of Public Health, I would assume, and because we don't have running water after the thing.
I would probably think we maybe shouldn't rent it then.
either that or we have a caveat that if winter sports, I don't know why we would want to, but if.
Yeah, I don't either, really.
Maybe we'd have to add in the porta potties or other restroom facilities
Yeah.
would need to be required because we winterize our facilities.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, too.
And maybe after the fall schedule for high school sports ends, we no longer rent Crocker Field.
Right. Yeah.
Because it would cost us money if somebody wanted it, and we would have to clear off the field.
Yeah. And I would worry about clearing it off. Too.
Yeah.
I don't want to damage it.
No.
You don't
want to be the one.
Right. All of a sudden
It's
you
a
have like a
brush,
whole
actually.
strip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's a smart idea.
This is good.
And then just also, maybe noting in the schedule, right, like how are we determining who gets to schedule their events and how far out? It should say, there should be a caveat in here, something about Fitchburg Public Schools, programs take precedent over, take precedence?
Anyone else.
I guess the same sort of verbiage.
I think we just kind of took that as.
It is assumed, but if
But
you
if
want to
it's not
specify it.
written, then it'll be a problem.
But I guess on the other side of that is if there's a date when the field's available, and my group comes in and says, I want to rent it for 3 hours, and I give you my money.
And you've already scheduled it with us.
Schedule it, then I don't think it's, then all of a sudden say, sorry, you can't use it, here's your money back.
But if we
because-
both came at the same time, right, it was a school versus a community.
So once you've, in essence, signed the contract, then you're going to be at the field on XYZ day and use it.
That's why there should be like a schedule of how far in advance that you can block out these dates and who takes precedence. And
I was going to ask, how far in advance, for example, does the athletic director know, like for the fall schedule for football, for soccer, for field hockey?
You know that now, probably.
And in the spring, what it would be for girls lacrosse?
I think they work on it
About 5 to 6 months.
Yeah, I was going to say like a half of
But we have a lot of experience with this with the field house at Fitchburg High now.
Okay.
And if an organization comes in, like U.S. Taekwondo or the gymnastics competitions or the various things that we do rent that facility out, the school teams know that's not a home game time or a practice time. It's just, if they've secured it well in advance, then they have rights to it.
Okay.
So I will bring this back to the.
Debbie's got a question.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was just, I know, Jeremy, you mentioned the nonprofit rate. There are groups like
Yeah.
mostly Fitchburg. I think if, we have to be careful with that, because I'd be worried about, well, I know this group.
Yeah.
I think if that, maybe it can be set up that if there is a group that a price might be adjusted, that maybe there's a group of people that meet to determine and decide yes or no. I don't know. I just.
So in Parks Commission, parks rent out, at an hourly rate or a daily rate of, I don't know, maybe, I think it's every 4 hours, something like that. But people that have a hardship, they will come before the Parks Commission and state their hardship. I'd like you to waive the park fee, and they state their reason, and the public body in a public meeting has the opportunity to say yes or no.
Okay, I'm worried.
That could be a challenge.
Yeah, I'm just worried because, a lot of money, sweat, and tears went into this project. And I would just hate to be one of those, have a moment where it's, gee, 2020, hindsight, if we only knew. I just worry about.
No, I think it's a valid point. I think what we did see in quite a few of the communities is they have another tier that's, say, $150 an hour or $125 or something in that range that is nonprofit, city participants, vast majority. And they kind of work with them. All other fees still are required, $50 an hour for custodial, $50 for the site manager that sets everything up, police detail as needed, all the other health requirements. So we can look at that as well. I think going back to it, we do need to really, we're not looking to make money necessarily. The priority is really to maintain the facility. I mean, yes, some rental fees come in handy. They help you to replace some of the equipment. They help with some other costs to defray those, but it's definitely maintaining the capital investment that was just made with a large group, 3 different groups really contributing to make that happen. 4. So we can go back, revisit this, come back to Building Needs Resource March 26th with some updates.
And then we'll
that
bring it
makes
back.
sense.
That's okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
And the concessions.
Because we're not looking to do it in the spring.
Yep.
This would be fall, anyway.
So the
Sorry.
concession stand, renters indicate at the time of rental if the concession stand is required to be operated. There's no additional charge for that. However, no rental is permitted to sell food or beverage.
We will run it.
What if there are no members of the available concessions team, the concession stand team that are available to run it?
Rick Kazanjian.
He's always
run it, and he has volunteers. He's got a volunteer group if he can't be there. And we've never had a problem with any so far.
Yeah, no, I hear where you're getting at, Mayor. And to Mr. Stevens' point, I think we feel pretty confident. We want to maintain that as an opportunity for school groups and some of the booster groups to be able to generate some funds. Absolutely priority there. I hear your point around if all else fails, could there be a possibility? We can talk about that.
And we can also ask Rick, too, and make sure to clarify exactly what coverage he has if he's not available or how that works.
And then, maybe if we could expand on that to say, the concession stand provides great revenue for our booster clubs and our,
Band parents.
Yeah,
run it.
and
it really does.
explain that here so people aren't just looking and going, I can't have fun. Why is that? It's kind of spelled out, and then people go, all right, okay, I understand that. This kind of nip the questions, outrage in the bud.
Yeah.
So again, we'll go back, we'll add the information in about the permits. We'll make sure we change the police services to police details.
Yeah.
We'll add the information regarding sports boosters, band parents who run that, and then we'll clarify the seasons.
And then, for the no renters permitted to sell food and beverages, maybe there is a caveat, right? Maybe there's just an option as a plan C that says any renter that wishes to sell food and beverage explicitly must obtain explicit permission from.
I'm sorry, to do what?
Must obtain explicit
before that.
permission.
Food.
If you,
To sell food?
right. If all else failed, if we aren't able to run the concession stand.
I don't think we should do that. I think it should just be, the concession
opens
stand is
up the
run by the
window.
concession stand people. And if it isn't available, then all you have are the beverages that the players need to drink when they're playing.
For example, there was an event for the grand opening of Crocker Field where we had the school department provide us food, or maybe we got it from BJ's. Was it school? It was the school department.
Yeah.
School department provided us food for that event.
In the
So
clubhouse.
Yeah, in the clubhouse.
It was catered up.
But the
it was
concession
free.
stand was run because Rick Kasanjian was selling me
That's right.
popcorn when I went there.
Correct.
Yeah.
I just
In that
think if you
situation, was the
let
food
people
free?
sell food, you're going to end up with more of a, I mean, it just happens. When we go for a walk and we go down to Bernardi and Bowl, the players leave their water bottles on the field. It's a mess. And I just think if you start making exceptions, you're going to have more exceptions than we have rules. And I think the point that you need to consider is what Jonathan and Jeremy brought up from the very beginning. We want to make sure that this field lasts 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
And that's my position, and we can discuss more when we get the revised.
Yep, I would just urge flexibility but explicit permission, because then we allow ourselves the event that we haven't thought of.
Just a quick question. The idea here I'm getting from all of this information is we're looking for potential renters that are, or there could be potential renters, not that we're looking for them, that are organizations. We're not looking for, people who are having a big birthday party or something, because they have to have a certificate of liability, right?
Big birthday party.
Right.
You are
Definitely not.
I just want to make sure that that's really clear. Okay.
Yep, it's a good
Organization.
point. No concerts, no medal throwdowns at Crocker Field.
That sounds like fun.
I would be there. But
All right, we'll bring that
Thank
back
you.
to
Appreciate the
you
feedback.
after the building resource and meeting coming up.
All right.
All right, let's see, where are we here? I apologize, we are running behind here. We're moving to donations. So we have 2 donations this evening. First donation is from the City United Church to Fitchburg Public Schools. They donated 250 bags of lunch given to our families during the ice skating event during February vacation. The estimated value was $2,250. And then the second donation is from Iglesia Hispania Adventista Renacer to Fitchburg Public Schools. That's 140 coats that they donated for students in need with an estimated value of $3,500. So those are 2 donations for this evening. And then there are actually grants for us to look at this evening. We just got these, and I just wanted to make sure they were on our approval to submit. They're all United Way grants. The first is for Youth Venture. That is between $10,000 to $20,000. That's to continue our Youth Venture, our student interest work that they do at all our schools here in Fitchburg. Then the other grant is also United Way grant, but that's for school programming between $10,000 and $30,000. We will actually target these funds to actually offer after-school programming at Crocker. Remember, we do not have the 21st Century grant for Crocker, and we're paying that out of local funds. So these funds would offset that if we were to receive those for Crocker. The other one is the United Way Youth Mental Behavioral Health Grant in the range of anywhere between $10,000 and $30,000. This is also to support after-school sites, but also to focus on mental and behavioral health services in the after-school programs. And then the last one is the United Way Early Childhood Grant. That's another grant between $10,000 and $30,000. That will be used to actually fund after-school programming at the Early Childhood Center, South Street Early Childhood Center. So those 4 grants are on the agenda for approval this evening. And then the last piece is our policies. The first policy is the number 4105. That's a non-discrimination and harassment policy. If you remember from last meeting, that's just updating it to make sure we are following the current Title IX procedures that we went back to. The second one is a new policy, number 6503. It's the public comment policy at school committee. I was asked to bring this in front of you. This is a policy that we've been updating and working on at the policy subcommittee, and I was asked to bring it to the first reading for this evening. Debbie, do you want to comment on that policy?
Yes, I have something that I prepared that I'd like to read. As chair of the policy committee, I'd like to speak to a couple of changes in policy number 6503, public comment at school committee meetings. First, the topic. When speakers come before us, they are usually passionate about an issue. It might be in favor of or against, but having the topic be about an item on the agenda that is within the school committee's purview, you can be assured your voice will be heard. School committee members come prepared to discuss, question, and take action on the materials in our packet for an upcoming meeting. Your opinions are valued and will always be taken into consideration when that item comes up. Secondly, the amount of time. We also need to have a time limit for speakers. Public comment should not exceed 20 minutes. This new policy allows speakers 4 minutes each. I'm asking the committee to change it to 2 minutes. A recent comment was made about us dialing back the level of participation afforded to the public. I disagree. With public comment being limited to 20 minutes and individuals having 2 minutes, we will hear more people with focused remarks while still being able to conduct the business of the Fitchburg Public Schools. Our City Council has a limit of 2 minutes. It can be done. In the past, I spoke at 2 city meetings about City Hall and the new Crocker School. I prepared 2-minute speeches for both. I practiced ahead of time to be sure my timing was correct. I got my point across without putting in a lot of extras. And as stated in the policy, the presiding chair may permit extension of this time limit in extenuating circumstances. So I hope everyone understands why we're changing this policy, and I ask my fellow school committee members to change the individual speaker time to 2 minutes. Thank you. And just to let you know, this was a 2-minute speech.
Very good. Yeah.
So if we adjust it to 2, wait a minute. Right now, we're allowed 5 minutes.
Correct.
Right.
So we had a policy committee meeting and we changed it.
We changed it to
proposed it to
4, but I'm asking to change it to 2 before this vote takes place.
So, I absolutely agree with 2 minutes. 2 minutes is what we have on the city council.
Make a motion.
Is that a motion you're making?
I will make a motion to change this policy to 2 minutes.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and policy to amend the public comment at school committee meetings policy, change it to speakers will be allowed up to 2 minutes to present their material. The presiding chair may permit extension of this time limit. Comments or discussion on the motion?
Just a comment, I don't think that that's adequate respect given to the people who take the time to come here and feel strongly about an issue. I haven't noticed any egregious problems up to date. I think we owe it to the public. We're here for the public. And frequently, just from my experience, if people have an issue, they really don't know where to go. Maybe you know where somebody should go, or you or me. But they feel that we're their institution, and they should feel comfortable here to express themselves. So I would not vote for a limitation like that.
Chip?
I do think it should be 2 minutes, and when you go down to item 5, if the comments are more than initially 4 minutes, in this case more than 2 minutes, person can still submit their written statement to the chair. It can be distributed to the entire membership of the school committee for us to read. And if they wanted to, they could also put it in as an opinion to a letter to the editor in the paper. But I think if, as Mrs. Jeffrey said, if you're here to speak on an issue that means so much to you, that you really do need to take the time to prepare, and in 2 minutes, you can state your position and give reasons why, and I don't believe that you would be shortchanging anybody who comes up to the podium to speak.
We'd actually be letting more people speak.
If there were more people that wanted to.
Yes.
There might not be.
But we also have to, you know, we're also here to conduct the business of the school committee, and depending on, I mean, we don't have anyone right now that is speaking, you know, at these meetings. But we don't know in the future what could be. But we need to kind of prepare for that so that we can still get our work done.
Okay. Just further thought, we have many people that come here to speak from the schools, and they're very lengthy speeches, calling for endurance to listen to many reports week after week, session after session. And if you want to curb something, maybe curb, I don't know, all the speech, I don't see why we should limit the people. It's the people's school. They're paying for it. They're a major factor, major partner. I really feel that we're extremely respectful to them. I feel like they have a lot to say, and they do try to put it into a quick speech, and it puts them behind the 8 ball. It's not a comfortable thing frequently. So,
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Yes.
Is that okay? So the section is meant to have 20 minutes. And so if you so I just want to recognize, because I think that a perfect example of this is obviously we were doing negotiations, right? And that we had a lot of people who came to speak on similar topics. But I think what is helpful is that if the time is limited to 20 minutes overall, then as opposed to having, it's 4 minutes currently?
Currently,
The proposal is 4.
Currently 5.
It's 5 right now, but the
proposal is 4.
Yep.
So yeah, you would essentially during that 20-minute time be increasing the number of people who could speak on the same topic multiple times.
There is not currently a time limit.
Yes, there is.
5 minutes each.
No, but
She means a 20.
There's no 20.
No, there's no 20 minutes. I'm saying that once, I just want to clarify so that anybody who's watching this understands, you know, what is being shared and what the concern is. And I just want to clarify my understanding. So, because I'm hearing concerns lifted, but you're saying that if the 20 minutes is voted, essentially having 2-minute increments allows a larger number of people to speak within that 20 minutes.
So
that would, right. So that would allow 10 people to speak as opposed to potentially 4 or 5, right?
Correct.
So I'm in favor of the 2, but I do want to bring up the 20 minutes after we vote on this amendment.
Another thing is frequently someone will come there and perhaps get a sentence or 2 out, and then they're interrupted and say, please state your name and your whatever it is, who you are. 2 minutes is a very rapid. You need a lot of skill to do it. And you're saying, I have heard it said that if they really care about an issue and they could do it and get it down to 2 minutes. But that's putting like a professional criteria on. I think people they come here motivated by a hard issue, and they are often emotional, and so I think that's where restriction of time comes in. But I think 2 minutes is way too short for the ordinary concerned parent.
If I may, I think the idea of setting a 2-minute timer, or 2-minute limit, would help to encourage people to try to focus that passion and to actually write something down and prepare it, because I know you said you were concerned about curbing their thoughts and their emotions and how they feel about a topic. Well, it's not to curb it, as Mr. Walsh had said, that they can submit that in writing if they can't get through what they did write, so that they're not actually being curbed, but if they can't stick to a, kind of a
But the public doesn't hear
task.
them then. It's
I call for a vote on the motion.
Okay.
Just one more thing. It's also, the policy says that it's about something, a topic that's on the agenda. And
that is not under the amendment that we have right now proposed. The amendment right now is
Just
only
the- 2 minutes. Okay.
to
All
change
right.
the
I would-
4 minutes to the 2 minutes. Okay, we have a proposal to move the question. All in favor of changing it to 2 minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? All right, that amendment passes. So continuing before us, we can have further discussion on the amended policy.
So I have two things I'd like to suggest. Under item 3, it says, topics for discussion should be limited to those items within the school committee's scope of authority and on the current agenda. What I'd like to change is, say, topics for public comment, because public comment is not a discussion.
That's good.
And it shall be limited to those items within the school committee's scope
That's
of authority and on the agenda. They have to.
I got it.
They have to meet those two. And that's my
Great.
first one.
So, sorry, I wrote
Okay.
that down, but that,
Topics for public comment shall be limited to those items within the school committee's scope of authority and on the current agenda. All right, do we want to?
I'll put that in the form of a motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and second to amend number 3 on, as stated. Comments or questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Well, I would like to comment there too, that if somebody comes, may I or not?
Pardon me?
Go ahead.
I didn't know if you,
No,
as I
I'm-
spoke, you
Continue.
indicated you were on.
Yep, go ahead.
speak.
No.
I think that if anybody could come in and mention something. I don't think it has to be on the agenda. I think, again, it's putting untoward restrictions on the major people, teachers, the parents,
Okay.
the students.
This motion is just to amend this current number 3 to note topics for public comment shall. But yes.
Yeah, so it's limiting. It's limiting, saying, yeah. And I think people should be able to be moved that day and say, I'm going to go down and speak to the.
Okay. Never mind.
People can call the superintendent's office. If they feel strongly about something, they can call the superintendent's office and have that put on the agenda. I don't like somebody coming in cold, hitting you with something that you have no idea what's going on or any background on it, and just throwing something out here. And I've seen that, and I think some of it can be very hurtful or truthful. And so I think they have plenty of time. They can call the superintendent's office. If they have a legitimate topic, they can have it put on the agenda. We will get that in advance, and we will know.
can I just add to that, Mr. Stevens, just so you know, I have open office hours, open to anyone in the public, 4 hours a month, that I have so many people come and meet with me who are parents, community members, just to talk to me about issues that they have. So that does happen. They do come and reach out to me.
But that's not, we're publicly voted into office, you're not. And so I think the people, the citizens, deserve access to their representatives.
And they can contact us anytime and also speak at public comment.
I take calls. The mayor, we all take calls. If somebody has a question or comment,
Not
I'm
the
open
same as
for
coming to
people
a public
call me.
meeting and with public television and.
Okay, well, let's just move forward with this amendment.
The vote goes.
So before us, we have the amendment, topics for public comment shall on number 3. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That's 1 against. Ms. Reynolds?
And the second item, and I don't know here, under item 2, the second sentence, the presiding chair may permit extension of this time limit in extenuating circumstances. And as I said earlier, the fact that under item 5, people can submit a written statement where it's longer than 2 minutes. And I guess what bothers me about this is if a chair says that person A can extend her comments, but the next person up, they can't. And what makes one person's extenuating circumstance more so than anybody else's? And I think when we've already changed it to 2 minutes. When you have a time limit, then I think the time limit should be maintained. Because I think it's very subjective to say, Mr. Smith can go on a little bit longer, but, Mrs. Jones can't. And I just think that sends the wrong message, and that's my point, and
I agree.
I'll make a motion to delete that sentence.
I agree.
The last sentence in number 2?
Yeah, the presiding chair may permit extension of this time limit in extenuating circumstances.
We have a second.
I'll second that.
Motion and second to strike from number 2, the presiding chair may permit extension of this time limit in extenuating circumstances. Comments or questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 1 opposed. Okay, that passes. Now, I would like to note the 20 minutes time limit. I feel that might be limiting, especially when we do have, hot issues where the 2 minutes is an adequate amount of time to speak, as we have seen in the city council for a number of years. But 20 minutes only allows for 10 people to speak.
I wouldn't have a problem with 30 minutes.
So if it was 20 minutes, I would feel more comfortable that it was something about the presiding chair may permit extension of this time limit, because now you're not permitting extension. You'd maybe perhaps we have a full room and we would say,
That's a good point.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
maybe there's an important issue that would allow us to extend that time limit by,
That's a good point.
I don't know.
It brings to mind when we had the joint meeting with the Board of Health about whether extending to wear masks 1 more week during COVID.
I try not to remember that.
It was a flashback, so no. And, I mean, probably the largest crowd we ever had. And it went on, public comment lasted probably an hour and a half. And I understand why you would extend the time for public comment.
I mean, if we had so many people that each person's 2 minutes and it lasted an hour and a half, that's probably going to be rare.
But keeping it the 2 minutes.
Yes,
keeps it-
that's
Right, it keeps it moving,
Yep.
and it allows everyone a chance to speak. So
Yep.
I don't know if I would be more in favor of it striking that 20 minutes completely. The public comment shall not exceed 20 minutes. Just strike that entirely. And then if there is a situation where it gets to be out of hand, maybe we can revisit it.
I agree with that.
So I move that we would strike public comment segment shall not exceed 20 minutes.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and second to strike the public comment segment shall not exceed 20 minutes in number 1. Comments or questions on the motion?
I think that's reasonable.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's unanimous. All right, anything else?
So I'll go back and make these corrections, and I'll bring it to our next meeting for the second reading.
Yep.
Yes.
How's that feel?
Yep.
Sounds good, yep.
Okay. Awesome. And then the last policy I went over already, that was the student members to the school committee policy.
Procedures during meetings?
Yeah, that's not on the
Is
agenda.
that where we're looking?
Nope, it's this one.
Yes.
It's right here. Student members to the school committee. That was,
Oh, yeah,
Policy.
we went over that.
went over that one.
But we have a fourth policy that's not on the agenda.
Oh, that one, sorry.
The procedures during the meeting, that was included because
was a-
that's our current policy
That's the
that
only
states
policy
we have
we have.
5
My
minutes.
apologies.
Okay.
That's where it says, so on that, our current.
1985.
Yeah, that's a good year.
Okay.
So this is just for reference?
This was just for reference. That's where it lived before, number 4.
Okay, gotcha.
That's where that.
5 minutes.
That's where that lived.
Okay.
So where we play, this is going to be the policy.
Take that, okay,
Forward
all right.
comment.
Sorry
Thank you,
about
Jim.
that.
Sorry about that.
No.
Yep. There was a reason why I stapled it to that.
Okay, all right, there you go.
So our policy 6503 will amend policy 6502, or?
No,
We're going to get.
no, that was just for reference.
That was just for reference.
So
that's all.
6502 will cease to exist after 6503? 6503 replaces it?
No, it is not replacing it. There are other procedures that are not listed in 6503, so we can't completely get rid of it.
Yep.
That was just for references.
That was just referencing the public comment.
So we will need to bring 6502.01 before us to strike out number 4 so that there's not,
We just need to go through the various policies that one, yes, that will come back in front of
More
the
policies
committee.
that will make up this on their own.
Debbie's going to love it.
So we'll have to address that later.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, I think,
I think
I
that's.
feel pretty
that's it.
confident here. Keep
I
stealing
think that's
your
it for
thunder.
me.
It's okay, I'll leave it right here.
All right, Mayor, so you have the action items, and then we have to go into executive session, I think.
Question, do we need to go into executive session for the negotiations?
We will at the end of the meeting.
I mean, I'm asking,
Well, technically, I wanted to ask, and ask if anyone had any questions. Basically, I'm just going over what the contract changes are, and then you'll have to vote on the contract. So that's what I was
people
going to
looked at
do.
it, and I've sat through every one of them, and I have no problems with this contract with the nurses.
I'm all set. I read it.
I read it too.
Did anyone have any questions on that? Okay, because I was going to go over all the items with you, but
I think it would be wise to go over the items with us.
Yeah, I would like to go over the items in executive session,
You want to do it?
if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to
Move things along.
move things along.
Okay, well, we'll do that at the end, and we'll
Okay.
make it quick.
Okay, all
yeah,
right.
I can be quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, all right, before us, we have all of our
Let's bundle them.
action items.
Yes, let's.
I'll make a motion to bundle action items 25-485 through action item 25-489.
I'll second that motion to bundle.
Okay, we have 25-485 through 25-489, but to motion a bundle. Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's unanimous.
Make a motion to approve the bundle.
Second?
Motion and second to approve the bundle. Comments, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is that enough?
Well, you can say no, because I opposed some of it as we went along, so I wouldn't approve of it now, but.
Would you like to note your approval for the record, or your disapproval for the certain
correct.
portions for the record and approve the bundle? Or would you like to disapprove of the entire bundle?
Oh, boy.
Because
Just a clarification, you were opposed to some of the items that went through
They
on
restricted
the public comment.
Yeah, right.
But that's not, we're not voting on that at all. That's not on here, so that's,
And that's noted for the record.
yeah.
So would you like to?
No, I'm fine.
Okay, unanimous. Unanimous vote.
So
Okay,
just
so
to
we.
clarify, we're going to go into executive session, then we'll come back and approve 25-490.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So we will,
I'll make a motion that we go into executive session for the purpose of discussion, negotiations.
Second.
okay, we have a motion and second to move into executive session for the purpose of negotiations, after which point we will return to the public meeting to vote on 25-490 action item. Mary Alexandra, would you like to take a roll call vote to go into executive session?
Mayor Squalia?
Aye.
Mr. Stevens? Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mrs. Jeffries?
Yes.
Mrs. England?
Yes.
Okay, that is approved to be in executive session.
Do we have to wait?
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, everyone. We are back in regular session, and we have one matter of action before us on our agenda, and that is 25-490, approve the superintendent's recommendation to accept the collective bargaining agreement between the Fitchburg Nurses Association and the Fitchburg School Committee, July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2027.
Make a motion to accept the 25-490.
Second.
Motion and second to approve 25-490. Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That is unanimous. The last thing on our agenda is adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and second to adjourn, and I'll take that by unanimous consent. We are adjourned.